Last night we went and saw Dungeons and Dragons. I forgot the name of the movie.
What did we say?
Last night we went and saw Dungeons and Dragons. I forgot the name of the movie.
Dungeons and Dragons.
We went and saw Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves.
It starred Chris Pine as, what was his name?
Edgin.
Edgin. And it's had Michelle Rodriguez in it as Holga.
Yes.
It had
She was the fighter.
Justice Smith as Simon. He was a magic user, I guess.
He was the magic user
And,
in this company.
Reggae John A. Page or whatever his name is. What is his name? Reggae Gene. I don't know. The guy needs a real name.
He played Zeke. He played a paladin.
He played a pretty overpowered paladin, I thought.
Yes.
Anyway, it starred Sophia Lillis, who we saw in It. Was she in the first one or just the second one?
No, she was in both. She was in the first and the second.
Okay, so she was like the little girl version of what's her Nicole Kidman.
Last name Chastain.
Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, Jessica
That's
Chastain.
it.
Yes.
The Red Wizard.
Daisy Head.
Yeah, Daisy Head. She was Anthony Head's kid.
Yeah.
Who's ever. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite all-time shows ever.
She was in it. She was in the last season. So.
I didn't care about the last season. And it had Hugh Grant in it. Actually, I liked Hugh Grant's character.
Oh yeah, Hugh Grant played his character perfectly.
He was Forge. He was like just some wise-ass rogue con guy, basically.
Thief, con guy. He was kind of the mastermind of the group before he.
Yeah.
Honestly, he said it was his idea to raid the.
Honestly, I kind of fell asleep the first time.
You slept through the whole. I talked to a person through the whole movie, Doctor Strange. I got a few grunts. So I thought he was.
No, not Doctor Strange. Ant-Man. I slept through Ant-Man.
Yes,
I had no idea what happened. I went to sleep like when they went to the quantum realm, and I got up whenever that guy was getting sucked into the machine. Anyway, this movie was directed by John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, whatever his name is. Also written by those two. The screenplay was written on it based on a story that was by Michael Grillo and Chris Mulch or something like that. He was also the writer on Spider-Man Homecoming. I want to say Homecoming. Which was a really good movie.
Yes.
Actually, Spider-Man Homecoming was really good. And he was also, and you haven't seen this movie, I don't know why you haven't seen this movie. He was also the writer on Horrible Bosses. He was
Chris
the
Pine
writer.
was in
Chris Pine was in Horrible Bosses. You need to see both of those movies. I actually like the second one better. A lot of people, including the actors, think the second one is a mistake. And it sounds like it's based on the Forgotten Realms campaign from D&D, which I have no experience with. Did you ever read any of the books?
Oh my God, I read them, but I think Anthony made me read them, so I
read
one.
them. Yes, sir. Again, Edgin is out. Basically, he goes after. He comes home one time, and his wife's been killed.
Yes.
Or his wife has been stabbed by the blade of a red wizard.
Yes.
Now, this wife was the most nondescript character in the movie. I did not care at all about her.
He goes home, he finds his wife who's been stabbed. She's not dead yet, but she's been stabbed by a red wizard.
Anyway, so apparently these red wizards or whatever are deaf because this woman shoves a kid in a cupboard. It's like not even locked, and it's like right behind her.
Well, no, but it's kind of a secret. It doesn't really look like a cupboard. It just looks like part of the wall. So he becomes a bard.
A bard, I guess.
Well, he just goes in and starts playing his lute.
Yeah. Okay, fine. He hooks up with Holga. And they go find Simon and Forge. Then they, for some reason, take their boring ass kid, and this kid's terrible. I hated the kid. But anyway, they all go out on a life of crime, right?
But the kid has. She brings Holga and Edgin together like a family. She unites these two people. They're almost like a family. She raises her like a daughter. Didn't you see the flashback? She's the catalyst for the whole movie. Basically, the catalyst for everything he does.
They go on a heist with Forge and Simon and Holga.
Yep.
And during the heist, Red Wizard, I don't think they knew she was a Red Wizard. Forge did, but the others didn't. And she starts hurting people and stuff. And the Harper and Edgin freaks out and says, "We don't do that."
She uses a spell she uses a spell that gets everyone, for her and Forge escape, and that spell meant for everyone else to be caught.
It was a time spell. That was actually a pretty cool spell.
Yeah. They use the same thing in Transformers. I was looking for the horn that was able to draw in the...
Oh, yeah.
And the dust comes out.
That's later.
Yeah.
They get captured, or Simon and Forge get away, Helga, whatever. And
Edgin
get captured, thrown in jail. Then they're picking us or something. They're on the chain gang. Life's rough. So they're in the absolution, which I guess every year prisoners at this ice chopping me like it looked like it was from that damn Star Trek 6. They tell their story.
Yeah, they get to plead their case and see if they get a pardon.
I mean, the whole way they get out of that. I'm not going to give that away because it's not.
No, you can't give it away.
Yeah, well, we could. It's
we
not
could,
really
but we can't.
Major plot point, but it was just funny.
Yeah, but
so anyway,
funny.
they escape. Then we're still talking about the plot. So anyway, Chris Pine is basically looking for this resurrection, get out of jail, get out of death free car.
That was the only reason that he went on this huge heist that went very wrong with that one item.
Yeah, the resurrection order.
He wanted to resurrect his wife. That was the reason for the heist. And then, after that failed and he got out of prison, he goes in, he's invited, he's being treated nicely, he meets Forge again, he's introduced to his dog.
The kid believes just whatever Forge has told. Oh, the kid was not like 3 years old. There wasn't like some 8-year gap where she was being raised by Forge. It was like
2 years.
It was like 2 years.
2 years.
So if you take a 14-year-old kid and then they've been raised with their dad and all this stuff, and they know their dad,
12 to 14,
and then they go off for
14,
2 years
12 to 14.
with Hugh Grant or whatever, Forge, and he tells them all this awful stuff about their dad, like saying that her dad just abandoned her, basically. What kind of a dopey kid is going to believe all that?
I mean, you're basically the king's daughter.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she just say, "Hey, I'm going to send out a flyer to find out what really happened. My father was captured. Well, does she know? I don't think she knows he's in prison. I think he just.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, how could she not find the town prison rolls or something like that?
Yeah,
that's an excellent point. Forge sends them off. So she sends them off to be executed. They escape because Michelle Rodriguez is Michelle Rodriguez and plays a badass.
I kind of wish they'd had a point system, kind of hinted to D&D a little more in this aspect. Maybe she has fought so many times and won so.
She plays the same character in every single movie.
Considering he was a Harper who he fought Red Wizards and he arrested.
He was worthless. He just sit there and watched her.
Yeah.
I mean, they go find Simon, who...
No, they walk directly to Simon. There's no...
Well, yeah, but I mean, who wants to go through the search for Simon?
But but they should have like mentioned there were, he was hard to find,
They'll find Simon. He is a goofball wizard. They hint at the fact he's not very good, but honestly, he seems to be okay. So he's locked together. He's like basically... and I don't remember the reason for this. Simon says basically, "Hey, I've got this other character that we can use. I've got this other person that would be good for our team."
It's a droid.
A droid. I believe the way it worked, you could get to.
And they were for the undead. They were against undead.
It's some kind of Forgotten Realms thing.
But wasn't she born to 2 human parents? And
the actual druid character, I thought was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I thought her ability to shapeshift and become things was way more interesting. So anyway, they go off, and what the druid does is the druid goes in there and gets in the castle.
Well, you skipped a little bit.
I'm trying to. This is going to be a 75-minute review. I mean, the gang's together. They go off they send her by herself, I guess, into the castle. While she's in the castle, flying around.
She's a shapeshifter, so she's doing reconnaissance.
Yeah, reconnaissance.
Reconnaissance. What kind of, what did I say?
I don't know what you said. Something weird.
You know what I mean, though. She wanted to see what. Okay, yeah. Thank you for clarifying. They wanted her to find out what kind of spells or doors is on the vault.
Yeah, and she did, and she found out it was the Hammer of Agamemnon or some kind of weird magic, powerful magic. The magic user guy said, "I cannot do this." So they need another magical bullshit device to go find to lift the enchantment, the Helm of Disjunction. So Helga's people had been in some battle that had involved this helm. Helga's people found had been in some battle involving the Helm of Disjunction. They go to the graveyard. The magic user, whatever that, it's a magic user. I mean, it's what
the wizard.
That's what the wizard, whatever. He has this pretty funny spell, and it allows you to wake these people up and ask them 5 questions, and then they die again.
And they can never be resurrected again.
Again, that was a funny spell.
Yeah.
So they find out, and they just talk to all these people that had been in the battle for a year.
But this battle was hundreds of years, like 100-something years ago. The
last dead guy mentioned the paladin.
He was dragging himself, and this paladin walked up, or this person walked up, paladin, and normally they wouldn't trust him, but he said he felt like this guy was trustworthy, so he handed him the helmet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he handed him the helmet. And that
was
it. Yeah, because this guy was like, off saving baby kittens, literally saving baby kittens.
Oh yeah.
I mean, whatever, that scene we don't need to talk about. And he was just off being a do-gooder, and that was his thing. And so they find him, don't they? The group goes and finds him.
Yeah, they go to the city that she knows where he's at. She knows this. She knows the city, and she's heard of this. Everyone's heard of this paladin.
This paladin. This guy was. Who was that? Who was he played by? The most.
Rage Jean.
Oh yeah. Why I'm trying not to point at the screen.
Rage.
Right. Yeah. Whatever. So his name in the movie was Zink. It was X. It was with an X, not a Z. It wasn't Zink. It was
Zach.
So anyway, he goes with him for a while, and they go to the. He hid the realm. He hid the helm. Yeah, he hid the helm in some in like the fires of Mordor or something like that. I mean, that was another funny scene. We're basically like. He was telling them how to get across this bridge. What it was is they were trying to mimic a dungeon master given just incredibly complex rules for you to go get somewhere.
Yeah.
And the people screwing it all up. That's what happened.
And then the dungeon master has to just throw in, just out of the blue, throw in a special magic item that allows you to continue on the quest.
They got them completely out of the situation they were in.
Remember we had a friend one time we was playing, he's in full armor plane, he jumps off the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so this happens in D&D all the time. And so I don't even remember. They go get the helm, and they just go down there and they fight these guys. Okay. They kill them, and they're undead. They're running from them. That's 2 seconds. Ass dragon or something comes after them. Yeah, the staff basically lets you teleport from one area. Like you put a thing to you can open portals up between 2 areas. Anyway, they fight the dragon. They get away.
I don't understand why the paladin left.
Yeah, okay, so he did. He just left. He just said, I'll see
you later. And he just
walks
in a straight line.
He just walks in a straight line.
Yeah, he's going to go over the boulder. Yeah. Oh, he went over the boulder. Paladins are usually in your group.
Yeah, so they've got the helm.
They got the helm.
They were what were they going to do? They were going to teleport inside his vault and take all his riches.
They're using the teleportation staff, which is, they're on like plan C. That goes pretty well. They want to get into the...
Yeah, they were basically going to leave They were going to leave the other end of the teleporting door inside the vault. And that way they could just walk in and steal the riches.
Yes.
And get the daughter, although I don't think they didn't mention this kid for like 30 minutes.
No.
I mean, so they go in the castle and they end up getting captured.
She ends up, when she actually goes through the mirror, she ends up in where the actual treasure is, which is under the Colosseum, and he uses his helm and gets into the vault, and there's nothing in the vault.
Sure.
Yeah, he was stealing the...
But anyway, they all get captured by Sophina.
Sophia Lillis.
Dora. That's
Dora.
Sophina.
I'm sorry. Sophina.
Sophina ends up capturing them. he's just gonna kill him. But it's a movie where you got to where the bad guy's got to do something stupid. So he lets them live and go to the games. The games are cool. It's a cool maze. It's a D&D like level, like something that a level 1 or it's basically a level 1, 2, or 3 character from the old set of D&D.
Yes, because if you made it through the maze, you get this huge treasure.
Yeah.
It was like games. It was like a gladiatory game. So our druid, they ran into this jail. If you run into this globby jail, you get stuck in it and it dissolves you. The gluttonous goo, and she turned into a snake because she left a finger hole in it. They see the ship, they see where they're putting the treasure, so they take out everybody, and then they're on the ship and they're sailing off. And Forge comes down with Edgin's daughter.
Yeah. This is the point where all of a sudden he acts bad at the daughter that he supposedly loves.
Yeah.
He threatens to kill her if they don't give the ship
I moved on past that point.
Yeah, they sail off, and as they're sailing off, they see what the real bad person in the movie is. The real villain. The real villain is that Sophina, and she's basically trying to call down the red dust. Did you ever watch V?
Yes, I love it.
Oh yeah, V anyway. They're trying to call down the red... That's from V. Anyway, trying to call down the red dust to turn all these people into undead. And Edgin makes this face, and because they could have got away and just left that situation like it was.
Yeah, they could have went to another realm.
They could have went anywhere.
Yeah.
But he turned the ship around, they go back, and they confront Sophina, or they give all the... They basically... throw all the treasure out through the portal, or they take their treasure and because what's happening is because all the people are gathered together and because dust can't go through the air. Yeah. I don't really understand this. They're in all these people are in the arena. Sophina's calling the dust down on the arena.
They use the portal staff to drop the gold from the sky.
This defeats the bad person's.
Well, she wanted to turn everyone in the stadium into zombies.
And that we weren't going to do spoilers at first, but we pretty much spoiled the whole damn movie. Well,
it's a heavy dust. It's just it's
a heavy dust.
Yeah.
So the people get outside. Her plot is foiled. So then they battle her. She ends up killing Helga. The scene where they defeated Sophina reminded me of a movie. It's not classic, but you know what movie? You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Which movie?
When Sophina got defeated, when the druid was defeating Sophina, banging her up and down. Remember that? Don't you know what that's from? Or what I think it's from?
That's from Loki.
Loki and the Hulk. We got a Hulk. You got a Loki, or whatever. I don't remember.
That was the
original Avengers.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah.
Like Helga has been stabbed by the Red Wizard's sword. Right? Chris Pine. He now has the magical resurrection tablet, whatever it is. Because this wife, other than flashbacks, I'm not even sure she had one word of dialogue in the movie.
She had 10 words of dialogue.
There was no connection to this person, so the mom never knew the mom. And honest to God, the audience didn't know the mom either. So this big choice, this big dramatic moment at the end of the movie was like, is Christopher Pine Edgin going to use this magical resurrection thing to save Helga? Is it Helga or Holga?
Holga.
Anyway, Holga, is he going to use this thing to save Holga, or is he going to bring back this wife? I know what his aim in the movie was. Really what people are going to do. And really what it came down to was a choice between somebody his daughter didn't know and he couldn't probably half remember, and who spoke like 10 words in the whole damn movie, versus a major character in the movie. I knew what was going to happen the instant that sword got in her. Yeah, he's going to save her, so it wasn't anything...
because that's basically instead of his wife, that was the mother of his daughter she'd only known. One thing I didn't understand about the battle is he had this incredibly powerful artifact. He basically has our wizard / magic user. He basically has Magneto's helmet. So why doesn't that helm they went and found? Why didn't he use it against her? Why didn't he use it against the Red Witch? In my theory, they went through all of this in the middle of the movie for this one artifact, But they used it one time, but they still have it.
The thing about the resurrection thing is you can only use it one time.
Yeah.
Because of course you can.
Yeah, but
this thing can be used multiple. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
It's always teleplot.
Okay.
So they beat the Red Witch. I don't know whether she died or not.
Yeah, some of the building when after the owl bear beats her up in Loki style.
Yeah.
And then throws her against the building.
Hey, so
she's dead. She's dead because the spell that she had cast on the True King is lifted.
Okay, he comes back. He gives them all medals.
Yes, he pardons them, gives them medals.
Forge. There's a scene where Forge is running through the woods, and the Paladin captures him. I don't know why the Paladin would have been hunting Forge. Whatever. Forge gets sent to prison.
Yeah, it's an end credit scene.
And then the prison scene's not an end credit scene.
I thought it was.
No, the only end credit scene was. No, everybody makes an end credit scene now. People just need to start getting up and leaving.
Our hero wizard once again tries to woo our druid, and she says yes.
We both liked it.
It was very good.
Much better than that awful 2000 movie. Which apparently, I didn't know this. You know, there's the 2000 movie that I remember we went to go see it. I think Donovan went. I think Chris Blue went. Maybe Anthony. We went to go see it, and we're just thoroughly disappointed. Who were the actors in it? Like Greta Thunberg was. Not Greta Thunberg.
Marlon Wayans was in it. We got Jeremy Irons.
Apparently, there were 2 other sequels to it, but I don't know whether they were made for TV or not.
They were sci-fi straight to.
Yeah, they were.
Our 2 thieves were trying to break into a magic school, like a university.
We'd been waiting for a D&D movie for a long time. I started playing D&D with a group when I was in 5th or 6th grade. Greg Wallace was the DM. Andy Keys, I think, was also a DM. Anthony came in and started being our dungeon master. The only set that we ever really liked, red set, the red basic, blue expert. We played advanced D&D, but we weren't really ever gung-ho serious players. No. So I played back in high school, in elementary and middle school. Then we played right after college. No. You were a fighter, a magic user, a dwarf, elf, halfling. You were not a
cleric.
And a cleric. And at some point, what we were talking about earlier, I do remember this now. After you reach like level 9 or 10 in the old system, then you could decide to become a druid.
Yeah.
And you can only go to like 36 levels or something like that. The games we always played were around expert level, like they were wilderness adventures. So the D&D movie comes out. Are we gonna have a resurrection of D&D? No. And then again, we never played. We would buy the books every now and then. I remember at some point there was a book that came out that was like a hardback version of all the paperback. We liked that. Yeah. And then years and years and years later, maybe 2008 or 2009.
We signed up for the...
Yeah, you and I went to Dragon Con. We go to Dragon Con. Every Dragon Con, we signed up in a version 3.5 advanced game. And, like, these people had like 75 books. The Dungeon Master, he got pissed at me for some reason. I think it was because I was maybe drinking a little bit during the game.
What happened was...
Bruce tried to turn something to gold. I don't know. What did Bruce try to do? Bruce tried to do something. He was trying to learn how to make gold. And that pissed the Dungeon Master off. He went off and he kept trying to make gold. That Dungeon Master was just grouchy. I think I was inebriated toward the end, and all of a sudden he just killed us all. About midnight, because we played this game for 3 hours. I mean, when we're at Dragon Con, the thought of spending 5 hours playing D&D is like, no. So, I mean, we were just ready to leave, and I think I kept wandering off anyway. I mean, he just killed us all. Years later, we did hook up with a group and played 4. We had a block on bothering to learn that stuff. Except for conventions, I thought it was kind of dead until Stranger Things took off, and then my kids started asking about it. Like Matthew and them play D&D all the time. I heard that D&D had their best year numeric numbers wise ever in 2020. There's been a bunch of social justice crap. Some executive with one of the companies got online basically saying he wanted the main core constituent. He thought there were too many of the demographic group that mostly plays D&D. He thought there were, they needed to not play D&D. these people are idiots. The interest that Stranger Things, honestly, I think, has brought to D&D, it's the only reason this movie got made. And unfortunately, because of some stupid things the director said and just general malaise, I think, in like superhero and fantasy stuff now, this just hasn't been a very good month for movies, to be quite honest about it. The movie reviews that I had read on the movie, I think they got the idea that the movie was going to tank. They dispatched an army of people to say this was the funniest damn movie on planet Earth. I didn't think that. What did you think?
The humor was really good, but it wasn't as advertised as some of the people, but it was good humor. Good humor. It wasn't Guardians. See, this I heard it compared to Guardians. Full of one-liners. It was funny, and the humor fits the humor fits the situation in the movie well.
The characters were all good. I liked all the characters. I like Chris Pine in just about anything he's in. I mean, I can't think. I mean, if you had to list the Star Trek captains in order, this would really piss people off. But I would probably put Chris Pine, if he had the volume of stuff, if he had the volume of material that Shatner and Stewart have, I would put Chris Pine above Stewart. I always thought Picard was a bland role.
I was talking about he was also in that movie which I'd never seen, which is the Seven Sociopaths. Well, I want to see that movie. Sensitive.
The Paladin was over the top silly.
The Paladin is just one of those characters that the DM throws in to make sure that your character doesn't die foolishly.
Hugh Grant did really well.
They did play up the Red Witch, which was good because she was really powerful. So she was just in it.
The magic user too. I thought when the movie started, he didn't seem to have a lot to do, and then toward the end, I really liked how what was his name again? Simon. He was pretty good toward the end. I liked him.
When he got confidence, that's when his magic kicked up.
The daughter was dumb, written dumb.
Yes.
I mean, and the wife, I could not have cared less about. I totally couldn't have cared less about.
Well, the wife is a non-character anyways because she's in it.
But the story tried to make her a character, tried to make that be Chris Pine's motivation, and that didn't really work.
Well, it did. It did at one point. It did for like 5 seconds. He was trying to find that thing. They get arrested.
Well, I know.
But then the rest of it is him trying to get his daughter back.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's a 2.5 hour movie almost,
and it goes by so quick. I thought.
Oh my God! I was about to say the opposite. I very rarely. I honestly, most movies 90 minutes and let's go home.
You can't have a 90-minute movie.
Absolutely can't.
Not with this many characters. John Wick, 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
John Wick, they could have cut that movie in half. But what didn't work, I mean, I thought there were one or two things that were thrown in there that were just, hey, here's how you save everything. The staff was one of them. It was just the magic.
To me, the staff worked because it was a throwback to the old games where your DM would give you something. What didn't work for me was Zinc, however you pronounce his name, the Paladin. Yeah, he came in and came out. He was so powerful. Why didn't he go with the group?
He just all of a sudden left.
And then why? I don't understand why he had to fight the undead. Was it just to show how powerful he was when he said, "I'll take care of these, 7 red robed guys." What's his friggin' name? Zinc. I'm sorry. Yeah, Zinc's character should not have been in the movie at all. They could
have cut him out and given any of that ability to Simon or any of the other stuff.
Okay, Zinc's fighting ability and give it to Edgin.
They could have cut apart that whole thing if they cut out the helmet. And been like, hey, we can absolutely go to this town and disable this thing. They could have cut out the helmet. They could have cut out Zinc. They could have cut out the fat dragon. They could have cut all that stuff out. And I think it would have been better.
They could have just made it where they could have just went somewhere for someone to just learn a little more magic. You're right, it was a little long.
It was a little long.
Yeah.
And these things I'm seeing on Rotten Tomatoes where it's getting like a 90%. I mean, for God's sake. I mean, you're talking about the greatest movies of all time. This movie is rated. That's crazy. It was a good movie, but it wasn't like it wasn't Titanic.
We got the new Maverick.
I mean, it wasn't something like the new Top Gun movies. It just was. It was an okay, passable movie. But if you're not interested in the fantasy and stuff like that, I don't think this movie is going to get you interested in it.
No.
I enjoyed it. I think we would both recommend it.
I recommend it.
So I guess let's end this thing for God's sake.
Okay.
And just say we thought it was good. I would say on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give it a 3 or a 4. It's above average. It's good.
3.5, yes.
Yeah, but it's not great. I mean, it's funny.
And you can take your kids to see that. Kids will enjoy this movie greatly.
Yeah, you're going to go see this movie, and there's not going to be any nonsense.
Yes, no nonsense.
None of that nonsense Marvel virtue signaling crap.
And it's not like I've read where it says all men should just run away from this movie.
Long story short, we both liked the movie. Wasn't a great movie. Thumbs up?
Oh, definitely thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
3.5.
And I think, and we'll post something next week on whatever the hell comes out next week. What comes? Super Mario. Yeah, so we'll see Super Mario or Air. Probably both of them. Anyway, all right, that's it.